Of the regular meeting of the Camden County Board of Election and Registration is called to order. All members are present except Julia McCullough and Barbara Hahn. We do have a quorum. Before we get started, I want to publicly thank Anthony Kicklider for all the work on the Board of Election and Registration he did over the time he was here. I completely understand that running a successful small business is a time and energy consuming endeavor. I would also like to introduce Kelly Stofflet, representing District 3, as our newest member of the best Board of Election Registration in Georgia. Welcome to the board, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I look forward to it too.
Please rise for the opening ceremonies. Remain standing. Let us pray. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you at this hour asking for your blessing as we make important decisions concerning selections of two important positions. We ask that you lay your healing hands on those that are sick and suffering, and wrap your loving arms around those in need and provide them with comfort and hope, especially the family of David Mills. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. All right, has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda? Are there any amendments or corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda is adopted as presented. Has everyone had a chance to look at the meeting minutes from July 20th? Are there any corrections or amendments to the meeting minutes for July 20th? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as written. Public comments? Anyone have any public comments for today? All right. Moving on to financial report, July 2023, end of month report.
All right, good afternoon, board. Have you all had a chance to review the July 2023 monthly report? There's only one thing on there that caught my attention and Chairman Rapp's as well, and that's on line under supplies. Computer supplies, 531103.
Page 2.
Page 2. It's an encumbrance. In the encumbrance column, you'll see a large amount for $5,500 and some odd dollars. That is for ongoing security measures that we're taking, both in our office as well as at the warehouse. That will not come out of our budget per se. It's there as an encumbrance because it will be paid with grant funds. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. And there is no end of year-end report for 2023 until the auditors have gone through the books. So I can't provide that to you, but we did finish just under budget there. So, any other questions for finance?
All right. Moving on to election supervisor update.
All right, I'm going to start with just a reminder that we have Woodbine qualifying. They have 3 seats available. Qualifying begins next week at the city of Woodbine. For those 3 seats, there's 2 counselor seats and 1 mayoral seat. I believe it's Phyllis Drummond and Mr. Is it Robert Baird, who are the candidate or who are the current board or current commission. I'll get it out, right? I'll get it out. City council members in Woodbine whose positions, whose terms end at the end of this year. So we will know by next Friday if we have candidates that have qualified or if the incumbents are going to run again, what's going on there. So I'll keep you all posted on that. Like I said, we are doing adding some new security features at the equipment storage facility. So that's a big plus. And we, mainly Dennis and Deborah, have been super busy in the office with the Jarvis And I'm going to let Deborah speak on that. We've had a lot going on there with, this is our time kind of in our off year where we go through and look at our voter roll and get information from the state to update our voter roll. So I'm going to let Deborah talk about what she and Dennis have been working on.
Okay. A few weeks ago, last week Thursday, we sent out our NCOAs, which was, we sent out 1,041 NCOAs. I think on July 28th, the state sent out the NGEs, and they sent out like 2,400 NGEs. And we've been steady we got more NGEs in because we sent more out. We got a lot of those back, maybe a tub back of those returned. And we've been steady, when they come back, we enter them in the computer and they're being inactive, marked inactive at that point. So the NCOA is no contact. We have had no contact with these individuals for 2 general elections. So once they send those out, when we would get them returned back, we also take and go in and make those people inactive. Nice to change. Okay. Well, that was vice versa, yeah.
Yeah, just for clarification, no contact is 5 years, inactive is 2 election cycles, November election cycles, or 4 years.
And so when Deborah says that the state that's items that they're just related to Camden County, not specific to the whole entire state of Georgia. They had way more than that go out. And just to give you a little bit of update on our numbers. So in the middle of July, total voters was at 41,728. And we're currently at 40,756. There's been a little bit of change in the last 4 to 6 weeks. But the majority of that are inactive voters actually coming off the voter roll, or they've made contact with us, therefore they've been added back to the active voter list. So that's at 37,075 people right now. And I think that's all I had.
Any questions for the election supervisor? Oh, moving on to the new precinct opportunities MPOC report. I'll give everybody a couple minutes to take a look at that before we vote on it. Sure. All right, everybody have a chance to look at it? All right. The only correction I have is on the second page. It says Dr. Janet Bradford. It should be 2 T's instead of 2 R's.
We caught that at the meeting. So yes, thank you. These are just those copies, so sorry about that, but, and we have had a meeting since then, and just this Monday, we just don't have those, minutes aren't out just yet. But we have made a significant amount of progress with our precinct opportunity study. Dennis and Deborah have done a lot of research on the numbers of our voters and looking at our precinct boundary lines. So we have some good opportunities to make some changes in the future, but we want to go over those with the public first, and give them an opportunity to speak. So we have set up 2 public hearings for the September 6th, and notices about that will be going out shortly. I believe it's already on the website. We have 2 different locations. We'll hold those public hearings. One will be in St. Mary's at the St. Mary's Church, excuse me, and one will be in Kingsland. at the North Center area or the Kingsland polling precinct in the conference room back there at the North Center in the Chamber of Commerce area building. So we look forward to entertaining the questions from the public and giving them the thoughts behind the changes that we have made so that it's more understandable for the public and the voters. I don't think there's anything that we're looking at that's going to be too in-depth of a change, but it will, I think, be better for the voters in the long run.
Are there any amendments or corrections to the MPOC report? No objection. There being no amendments or corrections, the MPOC report is adopted as presented. Get that signed. Moving on to unfinished business, nomination and selection of the vice chair. The floor, actually, I need to hold some training on it before we nominate a. So our bylaws require that I provide training to the board before the nomination process, and the training consists of the nomination must come from the board members only. Nominations do not require a second. Once all nominations are selected, a vote shall be taken by the board, and the nominee with the most votes becomes the vice chair. Is the board ready to nominate a vice chair? Who do you nominate?
I guess I'm gonna nominate myself, thank
Okay. All right.
Unless I can nominate somebody who's not here.
Well, the problem we run into that is they have to accept the nomination before we can vote on them. So I would hate for someone to get nominated, voted in, for them to resign at the next meeting because they didn't want the position. Have a nomination?
Claire's
All right, so the nomination for vice chair is Ms. Clara Harden. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ms. Clara Harden, you are the vice chair, and now you're taking over the meeting. No? Okay. All
Now,
right.
I'm gonna let you finish this one.
Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. So moving on to new business, nomination, selection of the MPOC member. With the appointment of Ms. Kelly Stofflet to our board and her subsequent resignation for the MPOC committee, that left a vacancy with the committee. The MPOC rules require both political parties have a member on this nonpartisan committee. The local Republican Party has presented Donna Swartz to fill this vacancy on the MPOC. I nominate Donna Swartz to be a member of the MPOC. Any discussion on this nomination?
I'm good with that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Donna Schwartz, thank you for being on the committee for new precinct opportunity. That moves us on to BORE training. The reason you all come here today, I'm sure. All right, today it's going to be on precincts and polling places. If you could bring up the PowerPoint for me. And our references today are OCGA 21-260 through 266 and SEB Rule 183-1-7.01. All right, this basically talks about the designation of precincts that it used to be election districts. Now they're called precincts, and that changed in 1982. So that just talks about that. Talks about the governing authority has the responsibility to determine the number and boundaries of precincts. Next. All right, it specifically says the superintendent of the county may, as provided under this code, divide, redivide, change up any precinct any way that they feel is good for the convenience of the electors and to promote the public interest. So every time we do anything with the precincts, we have to think about that. Is it good for the voters? Is it good for the county? But mostly, is it good for the voters? And does it promote the public interest? Next. All right, of course, can't have a precinct with less than 100 voters. And the bounds of precinct shall not be altered on a day in which the primary or election is held or during the period of 60 days prior to a general or 30 days prior to a special election. Unless there's an emergency. It said all voting precincts established or altered under this provision of this article shall consist of areas which are bounded on all sides only by And it gives a list of all the boundaries. All right, the superintendent of the county or the governing authority of the municipal shall file with the Secretary of State and the legislatures and congressional reappointment office. Got to have a map within 20 days. Got to communicate if you get anything from the Justice Department within 20 days. And if we have any legal action we have to take as far as rebounds or redoing the bounds, it's got to be within 30 days. And any copies of any court orders within 20 days. Next. All right, for all precincts that use restricted access, that would be like a gated community, which we don't use, but the legislature decided they need to talk about that. So that's, if we ever do have one, we'll refer back to this portion of the 21.261.1. All right, next. And this is where the SEB rule comes in. It said when the boundary lines of a precinct are altered, all affected electors shall be notified of the change at least 30 days before the next primary or election. So we want to make sure that we get the electors informed. All right, so the superintendent may, upon his or her own motion, direct that the investigate whether we're going to do a division or redivision, changing any of the precincts. So this gives them authority to do that. And it's just some more about how the board registers, which we don't have, but if we did have, this is the rule that they would use. Next. So the superintendent may make such order for the division, redivision, alteration, formation, or consolidation of the precincts as will, in the superintendent's opinion, promoting the convenience of electors and the public interest. However, they cannot do that without giving a 30-day notice of such change prior to the change. So we have to let the public know 30 days out that we're going to change something in the voting location or the precinct before we can change it. And this talks about what the notice is supposed to look like, what all has to be in the notice. It talks about if the state's going to reimburse us, this is how it would happen. Love for them to reimburse us, but I don't think they're going to. All right, so it talks about the superintendent of the county shall select and fix the polling places within each precinct and may either at his or her discretion or its own motion or petition of 10 electors of a precinct change the polling place within a precinct. Okay. So the superintendent can do it or 10 electors can request it. Next. The superintendent of the county or governing authority of municipality shall not change any polling place until notice of the proposed change shall be published for once a week for 2 consecutive weeks in the legal organ. So if we're going to change the polling place, we got to let you know 2 weeks in advance. Precincts, it's 30 days. Polling places, 2 weeks. All right, during the 7 days before the day of the first election, following such change, a notice of such change shall be posted on the previous polling place and 3 other places in the immediate vicinity. Each notice posted shall state the location to which the polling place has been moved and shall direct electors to the new location. At least one notice of the previous polling place shall be a minimum of 4 feet by 4 feet. And the occupant or the owner has to be notified also. And it talks about, of course, if you got states of emergency, then everything's kind of out the window there. That's, we will refer to this next section. Yeah, not really much on that we need to talk about. All right, on or after the January 1st, 2018, the superintendent may establish a polling place for a precinct outside the boundaries of the precinct, if there is no suitable, and we have to notify 90 days prior to. And then we have to submit a report to the state election board, letting them know that there is not a suitable place within the precinct. Next. And a polling place should not be changed on the day in which a primary or election runoff is held or during the 60-day period prior to the general primary or general election or runoff. Nor shall a polling place be changed within a 30-day period prior to primary or special. election. All right, the superintendent of the county shall select wherever practical, a consistent with subsection D. We can use schoolhouses, municipal buildings or rooms. The superintendent shall also make sure that they're in consideration of the comfort and convenience those places of selected will provide to both electors and poll officers. This talks about more of the rules that we have to follow. This talks about restricted access, communities like Osprey Cove. Any questions on the training today? All right, next. All right, so I got a few questions for y'all. The bounds of the precinct shall not be altered on a day in which a primary election is held or during the period of how many days prior to a general election? You remember? Pardon? No, not 30 for the first question. Yep, can we go back to slide 4? Is that possible? It's the trainer. This might be a little cumbersome. You might have to just get out the whole presentation and go slide by slide. Not that one.
There it is.
There it is. Okay. So it says 60 days prior to any general election or 30 days prior to any special primary or election. 60 and 30. All right, next question. I have the question. When the boundary lines of a precinct are altered, all affected electors shall be notified of the change at least how many days before the next primary or election? No, not 90. That's on slide 9. All right, do we need to start over with training? Was it ineffective?
It was a lot.
You may have to just come out of the slide presentation and go, when you have the slides beside each other, just go that way. It's on slide 9. Okay, it's 30 days. That's on slide 9. So if you want to go back through your notes and look at slide 9, it's on there. Okay, what OCGA is boundary requirements for precincts found in? That's on slide 5. 21-2-261.1. That is the boundary requirements for precincts. All right, I'm just going to tell you the slides. Slides 5 and 6. Name some of the boundary requirements. I'll give you an example. The boundaries of a park.
Boundaries of public school grounds.
Okay. You have one? Churches? Yep. Roads? Yep. Yep. So I'll just tell you, it's visible features which are readily distinguishable upon the ground, such as streets, railroad tracks, streams, lakes, and ridges, and which are indicated upon official Department of Transportation maps, current census maps, city or county planning maps, official municipal maps, official county maps, or any combination of such maps. The boundaries of counties and incorporated municipalities is one of them, and the boundaries of restricted access residential community is the rest of it. All right. Question 5. How many days notice must the superintendent give before ordering a division, redivision, alteration, formation, or consolidation of precincts? That's on slide 12.
$30.
30 days. Thank you. All right. When changing polling places, what what are the notification requirements? There's a bunch of them. That's on slide 16 and 17. Pardon?
I said the most fun one is the 4 by 4 foot
Yes.
sign that has to go up in front of the old polling place.
All right, do you want to take a shot at it?
Notifications that must be made in a
Right?
in a area close to. Additionally, the notification of 2 consecutive weeks in the legal organ of the county or jurisdiction.
Yep. And the signs have to be done within 7 days of the next election. Okay,
I don't even have the PowerPoint.
Good job.
It's just my job.
true or false? The superintendent may establish the polling place for a precinct outside the boundaries of the precinct if there is no suitable facility within the precinct which could be used for a polling place.
Correct, yes.
That is true. All right, number 8. No polling place shall be established outside the boundaries of the precinct within how many days of a primary or election? That's on slide 19 and 20.
30,
No, not 30. More than that.
60.
More than that.
90.
90. All right, and then who must we send a report to that we're going to take a polling place outside the boundary of a precinct?
Secretary of State.
Well, not Secretary of State,
Board of Election, State.
State Board of Elections. Right, they have to be notified. All right, a polling place should not be changed on a day in which a primary election or runoff is held or during how many days, period, prior to any general election? A polling place shall not be changed on a day in which the primary election or runoff is held or during the blank days, period, before the primary election. That's on slide 20.
I'm good with 30.
So it's either 90, 60, or 30.
30.
So that's for a primary. So the 30 is for a special primary or special election.
Mhm.
For a regular general election, it's 60. Okay? And here's the bonus question from last month's training. How many years of no contact before a voter is placed on the inactive list? 5, the preceding 5 calendar years. Okay? How many years is a voter on the inactive list?
2.
2 what? 2 years?
2 election cycles.
2 November election cycles, so which is 4 years. All right. Well, I rate my training as an F. Sorry, people. We'll be doing this again next month.
Obviously, you did better last month than you did this month.
No, I don't know what happened. Okay, so let's get back to what we're doing here. All right, important upcoming dates. The MPOC regular meeting is Monday, August 28th at 2023. It'll be up here in the historical building at probably, what, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m.? Labor Day is Monday, September 4th, 2023. That means that all county offices will be closed. MPOC public meeting, as Ms. Shannon alluded to, will be Wednesday, September 6th. And then our next regular meeting will be Thursday, September 21st. Any additional important upcoming dates?
I think that's all of them.
Additional public comments on anything that you would like to talk about? Please state your name and your address, and we're limiting to 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. And of course, Dennis, you knew that. I just wanted to ask a question, Shannon. On September the 6th, what times will you be holding those meetings?
10 a.m. at St. Mary's Church and 6 p.m. at the North Center.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. June. Anyone else?
Kelvin Blue, St. Mary's. Can I get away with just saying St. Mary's? I gotta give an address.
That's fine, St. Mary's.
Chairman for the Democrats. On Tuesday night, the commissioners meeting, I addressed the recent appointment to seat 3 was an illegal appointment. I don't expect to have an immediate response from the Board of Commissioners, but I do expect this board to take a look at House Bill 23 and make whatever appropriate recommendations from this board and conduct business in according to their findings. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, there's no objection. This meeting will now adjourn. Since there is no objection, this meeting is adjourned.